Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is April and I talk about backpacking, camping, the outdoors, and sustainability. If any of those things interest you, hit the subscribe button down here and the notification bell to know when I post new videos. Today I'm going to be talking about 10 steps to take if you are brand new to backpacking and don't really know where to start. I've gotten a few questions from you guys already about how you even get started, what you need to do, and generally how you plan the entire process of starting to backpack from scratch. So I'm going to go over 10 guidelines that you should use when you're just getting started for the first time. The first thing that I recommend you do is to pick a trail or an area that you want to backpack. Definitely stay local if possible and keep the trail length to around 8 to 10 miles so you're not overwhelmed the first time that you go. That's typically a good length for a one-night backpacking trip to start. The reason that I recommend you pick a trail first is that you can use information about the trail terrain and the weather where you're going to be backpacking to help you decide what you need to bring and to prepare yourself. Once you have a trail picked out, the second step is to research the weather conditions and the trail conditions by, of course, looking at the weather online and looking at trail reports. If you're in the States, you can use All Trails. I also use Washington Trails Association where I live, but just do a quick Google search, see what people have been saying about the trail conditions recently, so you're more prepared when you hit the trail. Some things you want to take note of are how wet and muddy the trail might be, whether there's any fallen trees or logs along the trail, if the temperature drops drastically at night compared to the daytime temperature, if there are exposed regions or ridges on the trail that will be windy and extra cold, and the elevation is super important. So if you're hiking up to a higher elevation, of course the temperature is going to be colder. So you want to be able to account for that when you're packing and picking out your clothes. Which leads me to the third step, which is to get proper backpacking clothing for your trip. Of course, this is going to vary depending on the weather where you're looking to backpack, but here are a few general guidelines that I always recommend people follow. The first being no cotton. That means no denim jeans, no t-shirts like the one that I'm wearing right now. I won't go too much into the details of why, but you can Google cotton kills and you will see exactly what I'm talking about. It's not a breathable material and it tends to hold on to moisture, which is not good in terms of letting your body regulate temperature properly. The next guideline is to pick items that are sturdy but comfortable. Of course, you need them to be comfortable so you have free range of movement and can easily jump over things or take large steps over logs when you're on the trail, but you don't want them to be something like thin yoga pants or leggings that can get ripped if you get snagged on a branch or a rock. My next clothing guideline is to get comfortable shoes for obvious reasons. I am a big proponent of wearing whatever shoes are comfortable for you as long as they're outdoor shoes and preferably waterproof or water resistant. You don't necessarily need to go out and buy hiking boots, but whatever gives you the level of support that you need and that is comfortable for you to walk in for many miles. Next, always wear layers whenever possible. Even if it's cold on the trail, you will very quickly heat up carrying your pack full of stuff. So having the ability to easily take off layers, such as wearing a flannel or a zipped hoodie, is super convenient and makes it a lot easier than trying to shed layers or not even having enough layers to be able to shed or put them back on when you need to. So definitely layer up whenever possible. Next is to prepare for rain, especially if you live somewhere like I do in Seattle, where we famously get a ton of rain almost all year round. This of course includes a raincoat, but even potentially rain pants depending on the severity of rain that you're potentially going to receive, and waterproof shoes like I mentioned, and maybe even a rain cover for your backpack if needed. Lastly, don't overpack your clothing. Typically, I bring one set of layered clothing for daytime when I'm hiking and another clean set for sleeping. I will go over clothing in a separate video after this one, but you definitely don't need a separate outfit for every day that you're on the trail, so don't fall victim to packing too much and needing to carry all of it. The fourth step to prepare you for your first backpacking trip is to start collecting the gear that you need. I just posted a video of my top 5 gear essentials for backpacking that I will put in the cards up here, so go check that out if you haven't seen it already. Honestly, if you don't have those or can't invest in them yet, ask around your friends, see who you can borrow stuff from, or you can even go to a place like REI and rent out equipment, which can save you money right now, and then you can build up your collection of gear as you have money for it. So super easy, you don't really need a ton of stuff, just those 5 things that I mentioned in that video, and you are just about set. The fifth step to get you prepped for your backpacking trip is to test out your backpack. I highly recommend testing out any of your equipment before you hit the trail. You don't want to be on the trail and then realize that something doesn't work, or something isn't charged, or you don't have batteries, or your tent is missing like a rain fly or a pole. But particularly with the backpack, super important that it's comfortable and that you can wear it for a long time. So I recommend actually filling your pack with the gear that you intend on bringing to your trip and doing a hike with it. This can be a day hike on a trail, or even just some urban hiking around your neighborhood for at least an hour to see, how the pack feels over time. Can you get it to sit comfortably on your body, or does it produce pressure points on your shoulders, your hips, your back that will just get exacerbated on your backpacking trip over many hours? So it's super important that your backpack fits properly and remains comfortable. If it doesn't, take it back, change it out, ask an expert to help you fit it so that you're ready to go when you actually hit the trail. Step 6 in your backpacking preparation is to plan for your food and water. I will go over both of these items in separate videos in more detail, but have an idea of how much food you need to bring. This, of course, varies person to person and your activity level on the trail, but know that you will need more calories than you do in a typical day because you're pretty much spending the entire day or many hours of it exercising. There's a backpacking general rule out there that says 25 to 30 multiplied by your weight in pounds is how many calories you should consume on the trail. You can use that as a rough guide at first and then adjust as you see fit after you've taken a few trips. As for water, if you're just doing a single night, you probably can just pack in as much water as you're going to need for the entire trip. But it is a good idea to bring a water filter or purification system just in case you need it and you run out of water when you're out on the trail. If you do plan on refilling your water along the trail, I highly recommend doing a little bit of research before you go out there and most likely don't have service anymore, and just see where there are streams or rivers that you can fill up along the path.
Do you need to drink this water?
I like to make sure that my trail crosses those points where I can fill up, and that I know where they are and when I can expect to come across those. So definitely do your research beforehand so you're not wondering, can I finish my water? Am I going to make it to a river? When am I going to be able to fill up again? So do that research ahead of time and make marks on your map so you know exactly when you can fill up. A bonus tip here is to bring electrolyte packs. I love the ones from Liquid IV. I will add a link in the description box below, but I've definitely found that even drinking a ton of water when I'm hiking, I still feel dehydrated. So of course that's because your body is not just losing pure water, you're losing salts and various electrolytes. So having these electrolyte packs on the trail is super crucial for me. It helps me feel much more energized, and honestly the flavor added to the water really helps, especially if you're drinking water that you are collecting from a stream. They don't necessarily taste exactly like city water, so having the electrolytes in there to flavor it kind of helps. It was definitely something that I looked forward to, getting my dose of water from the day that got to have that passion fruit flavored Liquid IV pack in it. And as much as I enjoyed staying hydrated, it was just kind of a little boost throughout my day to have that extra flavor and feel like I got to drink something other than water for a change. The 7th step for preparing for your backpacking trip is to plan what your navigation method is going to be. Even if the trail you're taking is heavily trafficked and super well established, it's definitely important to bring some type of map and compass or GPS system just in case you lose the trail or lose the folks that you're with.
Where did you go?
If you don't know how to use a compass, I will link a video in the description that I used to learn how to use a compass because I thought it was really easy, but turns out I didn't know what I was talking about, and it's a little more complicated than I thought, but once you've done it a couple times, you definitely get the hang of it. So I'll link that down below. Definitely print out a physical map before you go out on the trail if possible, so you always have that. You don't have to worry about if your phone dies or anything else goes wrong. Otherwise, having a physical Garmin or other type of GPS on you can be a great resource in case of emergencies. The 8th step to prepare you for your trip is to share your plan with somebody that's not going to be going on the trip with you. Of course, this is especially important if you're going by yourself, so somebody knows where you are. But even if you have folks going with you, it's important to have somebody in town that can be alerting, search and rescue or whoever it may be if you don't come back. You want to let them know what day you plan on starting your trip, where the trailhead is that you're leaving from, what the tentative route is that you plan on taking, and when you should be back in town. Number 9 is to hit the trail. So you've done a bunch of preparation, and really you can do research and plan things out for your entire life, but really the main learning comes from when you're actually on the trail and experiencing it for yourself. So don't be afraid to go out, even if you don't know that you're 100% ready for this. You're gonna be okay, and you're gonna have so much fun. And especially if your first trip is just gonna be a single night, you're really gonna be okay even if you've forgotten something. As long as you have your tent or shelter and your sleeping bag, you will be good to go. And really the learning experience comes when you do forget something, or you realize that you wish you brought something else. And those experiences can only come from you being on the trail and learning it firsthand. Which brings me to step number 10, which is to repeat this entire process. So you don't start from scratch after you've done one trip. Really, once you've gotten one backpacking trip under your belt, you will feel so much more confident, and you'll have a much better idea of what to expect. So take the time to reflect on any previous trips that you've taken and think about what went well and what didn't go so well. When you're on the trail, you may realize that you really wish that you brought a book or a camera or some other type of backpacking luxury item, and you might not find that in any kind of gear list. So you really have to go out and experience, and then think about what you liked and what you didn't like, and then apply it to your future trips. And honestly, even the backpacking experts are constantly iterating on the equipment that they use, the different shoes that they wear, the clothes that they wear, the backpacks that they use. Everybody's, kind of just running a giant experiment. So I really encourage you to just get out there, try different things, take different trails, challenge yourself, and see what you can accomplish. And I guarantee that any intimidation that you had maybe before watching this video or before doing your first trip is going to vanish completely after you just get 1 or 2 trips in your little backpacking passport book. And just keep iterating, and before you know it, you will feel like a backpacking pro, I promise you. I hope this was helpful for some of you that didn't know where to start or what things you need to do before you go backpacking for the first time. If any of this was useful, or if you have any other questions for me or have suggestions for what videos you'd like to see next, please leave me a comment down below and I would love to see it. If you did find any of this helpful, please give me a like to let me know, and hit the subscribe and notification bell down here so you can be alerted when I post new videos. If you'd like to see even more of me, you can find me on Instagram at April Adventuring. I would love to see you over there as well. And with that, I will see you guys all next time. Take care.